Let me put this on mute. Welcome to Poet's Pitch, where poets can pitch their piece and guarantee we'll catch what they're pitching. Here is where we break down the complexities and dive deeper into the poetry. Pitches will reach new heights with me, your host, Kiesance. Welcome to Poet's Pitch, where poets can pitch their piece and guarantee we'll catch what they're pitching. My bad, I didn't press the button. I pressed the wrong button. And dive deeper into the poetry. Pitches will reach new heights with me, your host.
We good?
We're good. We're just gonna let it play out. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to our returning viewers to Poets Pitch the show. We go live every Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we have this handsome guy, three-faced poet. Yes.
How y'all doing?
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. I'm so glad to have you here. So we're gonna jump. Yes. Good evening, Ariel. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna jump right into first base because I'm ready to get to know three-faced poet. Because let me tell y'all, every time I will go to an open mic and try to catch this man, he is skedaddling. Like, he is out of there. So now, hey, Marissa. Hi. He is, like, on the go. So I'm so glad to have him on the show today so I can get in his business. And y'all can get in his business as well. As you see, he has his three-faced poet on his shirt. He's branded, okay, y'all? So we ain't seen this on the show before. So let's jump right into it. So your stage name is Three-Faced Poet.
Yes, indeed.
Why the three faces? What does the three faces represent?
Well, this first face is me playing, which represents Sam. And this Egyptian face over here is Shemsu Hetep, which is an Egyptian name. And people in and out the poetry community call me Hetep for short. And that's more my deep type of spiritual side, culture, and things, and my love for Egyptian history and stuff like that. And this guy over here is Sleepy, which is a nickname that people still call me to this day. So that instead of me being Sam the poet or Sleepy the poet, I just three-faced poet. So it's me all in one. Different swags. Of course, Sleepy's trying to, be fly, coordinate, Sam plain, it's whatever. And I might have on some African attire or something with Hetep.
Yeah, you definitely be coming out swagged. I like it. Y'all can't see, but the shoes are matching the tee for sure. I love it. So the first time I heard your poetry, I heard you perform, I heard Selfless, which is a sex poem, y'all. And which is hilarious, by the way.
Thank you.
Would you say your trademark is sex poetry? I feel like we already kind of started talking before the show, but I still had to ask, is sex poetry your trademark? Because that's all I heard. Or do you feel like that's the category you fall under? Or is there more? Is that just a slice of what you offer?
No. What happened was I went to a poetry event and I heard One Single Rose and Cesar Toriano doing some erotic poetry, and I was just amazed.
Together, like a collab?
Or they were separate, but they was like back to back, and I was amazed at how they put their words together, and it was something I had never done, and I decided to put a erotic poetry show together, and promoting the show. My partner kept telling me, you need to do an erotic poem, and other poets were saying you need to come up with an erotic poem, and I'm like, that's not me, you know what I'm saying, but time passed and I was able to come up with one, and I still felt like it wasn't really erotic,
And that's Selfless?
That was Dolomite.
Oh, Dolomite, okay.
Yeah. Selfless or Selfish came way later.
So you're saying, early on.
Yeah.
So when was this? Like, how far in the poetry world were you? Like, how long have you been writing poetry before you wrote your first erotic poem?
I want to say 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
It took 10 years.
Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for tuning in. So good to see you, Remy.
Rise and shine.
Yes, but you guys make sure you submit your questions so we can answer them. Well, he'll answer them. I don't have no answers for y'all. Okay, so it's really cool to hear, like, because the first time I heard you, it was erotic, so I assumed, oh, he's an erotic poet, and to hear like that's not even really who you are, and it took 10 years for you to even get it out there. Like, wow. I mean, assumption, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
What so you already answered my question, what got you started writing sex poems, but what do you feel like you like about erotic poems?
The creativeness, you know, is for me it's just not easy. And other people make it look easy. And I was just challenged, but I have maybe 6 erotic poems.
What's the ratio? So that compared to your other poems?
Oh, I have about 40 non-erotic poems, solid poems.
Okay.
So
less than like around 20%. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Someone is asking, how long have you been a poet master?
I came in the game in 2005, 2006. Yep. I met Sparrow downtown, didn't know who he was, but I walked in with a piece of paper and nervous as hell because I didn't want to go to a poetry spot to begin with. But I really took my brother-in-law's advice.
So you weren't really into poetry originally?
Nope. I was into freestyling over instrumentals. And that was 96, 95. And then in late 90s, early 2000s, I started writing. And I was just writing and letting my family members hear what I had. And my brother-in-law was like, man, you need to go to a poetry spot, man. You don't need to be, you don't need no music. You don't need to be a rapper. You need to go to a poetry spot.
And look at you now, 3-faced poet.
Yeah.
I love it. So when you're not writing, what are you doing?
I do lectures. I present lectures. Why Men Cheat Show. What else? Cyclist, ride 3 different bikes. Health advisor. Not no expert, but I deal with an expert.
You do look like you're in like good health. Like I walked up the stairs behind him, y'all, and I was like, look at those calves, like strong.
So I work out. I try to maintain a decent amount of physical fitness.
That's great.
That lifting my own weight, try to stay fit, but overall, I'm trying to eat right. It's hard in Detroit, Michigan. So working on the ebook store. Lecture coming up July 9th at Nandi's. Hip hop. How social media and influences the behavior of our children and stuff like that.
Wow, so it's like a whole lot more to you than poetry, for sure. I mean, that should be expected, but like it's more than I expected for sure.
Yes, indeed.
So I already talked about, you have your like branded clothes, you wear your 3-faced poet t-shirts, I didn't see multiple colors, it's matching with the shoes, you always coordinating. Do you feel like you're a fashion lover?
Yeah, when it comes to this poetry business.
Okay. Wait, how many sides of you is there? So you don't feel like, wait a minute, because earlier when we talked before the show, you said you used to really be into like the fashion a little bit more, right?
Yeah,
so
years ago.
Oh, not no more.
Only reason I'm to this point is because of the poetry. I wanted to stand out from the rest of the poets.
Okay, and you do.
So I had the guy. I asked him to draw a face of me 3 times, going this way, just similar to this, but he just drew me while I was sitting down and came up with this. They don't all look like me on the front.
They don't.
So I
thought that was your son.
I kept it. No,
Okay.
no, this ain't my son.
Okay. What about poetry do you appreciate? Like besides sharing, what keeps you going to open mics? Like besides when you're on the stage?
Other poets, how they write, for instance, I was a judge in a erotic poetry slam.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing the level of words and how they was putting their words. That keeps me writing. And life itself, stuff that's going on in history, stuff that I was knowing about 10, 15 years ago that's coming to pass now. Certain major events it continues to inspire me. Mm-hmm. History, life, family, religion, you name it.
Okay.
Politics.
So you appreciate like the poetry probably in its entirety, huh?
Poetry, it's more like it's like jazz. Jazz, you got to be in a certain mood for it. Mm-hmm. Poetry is like that to me. It's kind of boring because I'm more of a music guy. Okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So poetry, I used to drink all the time going to poetry events until one day I'm like, I got to be able to come in here without drinking. Especially at They Say Bar and Grill when they was open doing poetry.
Yes, They Say. Oh my God, you just took me back. That's how. Oh my goodness.
I used to have a ball.
So, but like, if you were going to an open mic right now, like what do you feel like will really just keep you interested? Like just the story, or like what like grabs your attention in poetry?
Again, it depends on the poet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The poets, because sometimes it's the host and it's the audience too. Mm-hmm. Like I might go to a particular spot and they don't really be listening. Like they drinking, they might just be high, and a few may be listening, but you can tell that
who's really engaging.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And that kind of makes it like I'm ready to go. Okay. But like I say, I have a message, so I do have to go regardless. I just can't keep the stuff to myself. Mm-hmm. So it's like a job in a sense, that you have to go to work. I have to go in and perform certain pieces, but finding the venue is key. Mm-hmm. So
you think the venue makes it more interesting?
Yeah, because at one time, Nandi's, that was during the pandemic, she was the only one open. Mm-hmm. And it was like, man, it was beautiful. I was going every Thursday, and in there you can smoke cigars, you can drink. And it was just free. They ballrooming and hustling, and
you want a whole vibe.
It was joy, and you had the poetry, even though they mix rap and R&B mm-hmm. in there, but that was the cream of the crop for 2020, 2021. Yeah, it was live. It wasn't a dull moment mm-hmm. for real.
I'm gonna take one more question before we go into the pitch. Ariel Corpus asks, who is your favorite writer and why?
I really don't have a favorite writer that I can call off, Mm-hmm. I really don't.
Really? In the city? Like, who is your favorite poet in the city?
I can't say it's a favorite, but I'm going to tell you who I like.
Okay.
I like Obasaki.
Period.
He's from a younger generation. He's witty, he keeps you thinking.
On your toes, for sure.
So I like his poetry a lot. One Single Rose is a great writer. She cold with it. Sparrow. Sparrow's he's probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest poet in the game, but he's seasoned. I think he's about the only one, or him and maybe somebody else I seen get a standing, like they stood up and clapped at the end.
Okay.
So that's how well he write. Peace that moved.
Peace Bell.
Yeah, Peace Bell. Yeah.
She should be coming through season 2 for sure.
And Dismantle.
Okay. You got a nice little roster up. Okay, last question. What is your one of your favorite quotes from one of your poems?
Favorite quotes? I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you.
That's fine. So we're going to go into the pitch. Tell the people what you're sharing today.
I am sharing my signature piece, Jet Fuel.
Period. Let's get into it.
From a triangle angle, I bend mic stands to rectangles and cause producers to produce in full circles. I stand on my squares and won't smoke them, the green or the purple. My thoughts be all purple when I meditate to a higher plateau. I'm a Scorpio, planets Mars and Pluto. I like my peach sweet like Snappo. Sweater chick? No. I'm the opposite of Bluto. Where is Popeye? Eating spinach, handcuffing her with a black eye. It's the return of the Jedi. Red eye, third eye, the Pope hat, I fish fry. On a Friday, Roman, Greek, freak day. Satan, Saturn, Saturday, wordplay for Saints Day. It flows tight like NBA shorts back in the day. Give me an ashtray. This verse is fire and heat. I wrote every word on this sheet in red ink. You can't smother me if you can't see. They still sell glasses at DOC. Run DMC. Detroit MC's classic. Lyrical acid with asset. Without Angela Bassett, we burn mics instead of houses and set traps for all rats and mouses. They go to jail and start wearing blouses while their spouse is on a couch with a D-boy with clout. With no magnum, she like him. He drives a Magnum and carries a 357 Magnum. The outcome is not a loss, it's a gain if we use both sides of our brain. Example, I'm dope, but I'm not coke or heroin. For every line I write on, I should get a trophy from here on and join poetry's marathon and come in last place. The first shall be last and the last shall be first in the first place. So I'm in first place in the human race. Cheese, I do not chase. They say the alien race own Chase Banks. They green snakes behind a human face. Play it safe. Keep real gold and silver inside a safe place. What else can I say besides Mayday? Mayday is going down. I'm not in the cockpit. It's a higher power on a higher plane controlling it. We didn't notice it. We pointed the finger at government and foreigners. Do anybody warn us not to get on airplanes? Well, I'm done talking. I'm going to let God explain. The media is not your best friend, but can be helpful at times. Know thyself and save thyself before a crisis arrives. I will see you soon. Keep cool. I smell jet fuel. Thank you.
Woo! Oh, that was good. I was like taking notes over here. Thank you so much for sharing. We're in the dugout.
You're welcome.
So you guys can submit your questions. Y'all need to show some love because that was a good poem. What did you guys think about that? Jet fuel. That was very, very different. Yes, great job, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Show love. Okay. So we're at the dugout. Oh, guys. So really quick. A lot of people have been talking to me about setting up a way to support Poets Pitch. So I did start a Cash App for Poets Pitch. It's just a $ in cash, $ Poets Pitch. So if you guys want to support, feel free. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate it. So I just wanted to say that. Y'all been on my head and I didn't want to do it at first. But okay, so back to the dugout. All right, so this poem, Jet Fuel, right off the back, I just feel like it's so layered. I feel like it was a very labyrinth piece, very coiled. I saw that the poem was dated for 2016.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it was given like late 80s, early 90s vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a roller coaster piece. Like I said, it's one of my oldest, and I had a lot on my mind at the time, and I was listening to a Royce the 5'9" instrumental or something, and the music. Again, that's how I started out freestyling without writing, but music sometimes drive ideas up out of me, and jogging as well.
Yes. Really quick, you have someone's giving you a sub 3 phase. Is there a hidden meaning behind the piece or something specific you want to convey? Yes. Hey, Chris.
Thank you for asking the question, but it's just nothing's hidden. It's just jet fuel. It was 9/11 that was going on that made me use the title, jet fuel. And, the people lost their lives. They wasn't saved. So that played at the end of the poem about, the jet fuel at the end, save thyself before a crisis arrive,
I will see you soon. Keep cool. I smell jet fuel. So that line right there, that was supposed to be God speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question, Chris. Hey, what up? Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm always happy to see y'all, the fellow poets. So you wrote this in 2016, and so what was on your mind was that crisis. Was there anything else that you feel like in that period of time went into this poem? Because you brought up Run DMC. I was like Angela Bassett. So I was just like, we're I want to understand where was I get that crisis had happened. Was there anything else that goes into because I said, I feel like this poem is very coiled and layered. So where else do you pull from for this poem and how you tie it in?
Well, it's like when you come out of hip hop, it's just a flow. It's just something that just comes from the spirit. So the ideas just be popping in depending on the word or the sentence. Like for instance, I used to be really into astrology. I'm always been fascinated about the deep stuff that you don't learn in school. So planets Mars and Pluto, that's Scorpio's ruling planets. So I threw that in based off, in the beginning I'm talking about me. Thoughts be all purple when I meditate. That's my little spiritual side kind of kicking in. And then it takes a turn with the Pope. Now the Pope, if you do the research with the Pope, you look at his garment, his head piece, you turn it to the side, it's it goes into like a big fish's mouth. And if you do the research, it actually have a fish connection to it.
Oh, okay.
So I threw that in there for the people who may know already, or the people.
So that goes back to Chris' question, things that might be. Well, you're saying, if someone understands it, they'll understand it. But most people, that's going to go over their head.
Well, yeah. Well, he did the right thing. He asked a good question. So, and you asked him the right questions too. So that's why I'm able to go to the Pope, because some people, I only assume that they know what I'm talking about. And then the Satan, Saturn, Saturday, all that play in to Greek philosophies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I played on that, rolling with the saint,
right?
You know, the tight shorts that the NBA players used to wear back in the day. What else?
It flows tight like NBA shorts back in the day. Give me a ashtray. This verse is fire. Yeah, that's why I said I felt like this poem was giving like late 80s, early 90s, because I feel like you were really playing, and I was getting culture. I was getting hip hop more than anything.
That's
like in
that type of style is in a lot of my stuff, except for some more recent poems. But that's playing off the poem being hot, jet fuel. You know, even though I'm not thinking it just like that when I'm writing it, it's just flowing like that.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
And that's why, the reason why I wanted to dive into this poem instead of another one was because I was like, okay, this is layered. I feel like I'm missing something. Like you didn't took us around the world, took us to other planets. I'm like, I want to know what's the correlation, but you literally, this is a hip hop flow. So it's like in hip hop, you just kind of go wherever the words take you.
Yeah.
And
even the triangle in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I've been mic stands to rectangles. You know, from a triangle angle, I've been, it's just, I'm just vibing. But what's in you is just going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't never say, well, I want the triangle to refer to this like this. It's not that. It's not like that.
See, this episode is already going different from most episodes because now I'm glad, because I told him, I'm like, I've been working on this wedding dress. I haven't had the time to dig into these lines like I normally do, but I would have been sitting up here studying, trying to find correlations, trying to find the hidden pieces of this poem. And it's like, no, I'm just flowing. It's hip hop. Yes, never knew about the Pope's hat and the fish. Neither did I, Chris. Neither did I. Joe Kennedy says, what's one or two things about jet fuel most people don't use that you feel like they don't get? That's like literally just like they would never know if they don't ask. What's two things?
That they to be honest, they don't ask questions.
Yeah, but like what should they be asking about? If what's two things that they should want to understand or should get from the poem that they're probably not getting, that you are pretty sure they're not getting?
I would say dealing with the Pope, because it's a side to the Pope and the Vatican that some people really don't know, as well as the Greek history. Those two, and that's really it. Oh, and the Chase Bank, the
alien race. They say the alien race own Chase banks. They green snakes behind a human face. Play it safe.
That would be one.
Explain it though. Explain that one.
Well, it's like the bankers, some of the things in history, like pulling the gold out the system and giving us paperback money. That was a very wicked thing, when you, we said we need money, we got the cash, but it was more valuable, gold or the cash. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and those were like ancient gangsters back then, So
all this was on your mind when you wrote this?
That gold part, yeah, yeah. And I see an alien race behind it. Green face behind a human face, kind of playing off the old movie, The V, where these reptilians or something were behind all these people, but you couldn't see it.
See, this is the thing we want to know. See, that's something we would not know.
Well, y'all asked the question, so I'm going to give it to y'all, So that's why I played on that, because it is history out here, just carved in stone, just been there, just stating some of this information, not per se Chase Banks that we go to at the corner store, or the people that work there.
I liked when you said, Oni, acknowledge this question. Have you ever written a piece you were embarrassed about? If so, why?
I've never written a piece that I was embarrassed about.
Never?
Never.
I guess I haven't either. It's like, why would I write it if I'm like, okay, that's fine. I like the line where you say, okay, so first of all, I feel like it was some Bible in here. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. I feel like that was Bible.
Well, I've just heard that when I was a young man, you just hear certain things, and I played off that. The first would be last and last. I just threw that in there, and it flowed. Certain stuff just don't flow, and you have to take it out. That flowed.
You giving me, I feel like I'm getting a stew. Like you tossing all the vegetables in here, and it's like, it's going to all work. It's going to all work. I love that though. Because, I mean, it is flowing. So you say the first should be last and the last should be first in the first place. So I am in first place in the human race. What I like after you said that line, you said, cheese, I do not chase. So I thought you were kind of trying to go from human race to rat race. You're saying you're not in the rat race, but like, was that what you were trying to say there?
Yeah, I don't chase, yeah, pretty much. I'm not desperate for money. That's it wasn't nothing deep really with that. It's just, I'm just trying to, you want it to make sense, but you want it to flow. And that's what I was doing.
Wow. This form is so different than I feel like all the other forms on the show so far. But I mean everybody's poem is different in its own right. But like this is really different. Like for instance, when you said I wrote every word in this sheet on this sheet in red ink, I thought that was supposed to be like a godly situation right there, because everything that Jesus said was in red in the Bible.
Well, I mean, I'm not a Bible thumper, but everything. Every time I write is from the Spirit. So the red, for me, and my knowledge, it represents flesh and blood.
Okay.
That's why in the bank, they don't want you to use no red pen. Because you're not dealing with a fictitious person when you write with that red ink. So you are a straw man. You're not all human when you use that black ink. But I had to throw that in there. So I feel like I'm putting my all into this poem. This is me. I'm writing every word on this sheet in red ink. That's how I was feeling, like this is me. This is the real deal. Boom, 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 boom. And red it played off the jet fuel, and red being just a strong color, it just all went,
Someone said, the gold standard was dropped by the U.S. way back in 1971. And then Ariel said, worship of the Babylon fish god Dagon.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for putting that out there.
So I guess somebody's understanding.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said that the erotic poetry isn't really your thing, but I feel like you threw that in here too. You said you feel like you were at this point. Do you feel like erotic poetry is a part of who you are?
It's a part of me for sure. I mean, I like sex, but I mean, it's just they don't come out of me like a political or poem that's dealing with the origin of Christianity or something like that, or something dealing with nature. Those come out of me more, than an erotic poem. Told you I only got about 6, if that.
So why did you feel like it was important to write this poem?
It's not like a feeling. It's just like I mean, it's a feeling, but it's just like you got a thought, like you got a business idea. You write it down, right?
Right.
And then you add to it because you trying to complete it.
Okay.
And then you just keep going and you keep going, and that's how it is. That's how it's worked. That's how it comes to a completion by your thoughts continuing. And they don't have to rhyme.
But what was driving you to complete it? Like
all my information that I had in my head, my thoughts, and the vibe of that music.
You had music playing when you was writing this?
Not the whole time, but music is what started it.
What song?
It was a Royce da 5'9" song. I don't remember the song. It was back then. It probably was underground, and my cousin, he's a producer, and he was playing it. And I'm like, I've never heard that. It was sounding good, and it's that music stuck in my head. And to this day, I didn't wrote poems off Drake instrumentals. You know, who else? Jill Scott instrumental.
Jill Scott.
Because the again, I come from the hip hop shop where before D12 and Eminem and all them made it, I was there. So all I remember is instrumentals and people rapping over the instrumentals, freestyle.
Do you write what do you feel like is the ratio of how many poems you write to music, or is it like all of them, or like
low? It's low.
Okay.
I don't even write as much as I used to because I'm still just trying to dig out a lot of the ones that I haven't performed a lot. You know, that's why I like going to certain poetry spots that listen. For instance, I did one about the number 9. 9 is my favorite number. If you look at some of my logos, I have 72 in the logo. 7 plus 2 is 9. And 9 is like, if that 9 follow me. And it's my spiritual path number as well.
Oh, okay.
So I did a poem about the number 9 probably 15 years ago. And I did it at Kola Lounge this year. And it was a yoga instructor who asked could she use that poem for one of their yoga sessions that they use 9 as a mantra. I'm like, wow, I was sure, you know what I'm saying? Because it had dust on it. Because I feel like that poem wasn't for the average open mic, but at Kola Lounge, they listen to everything.
Yeah, they do. I know I do. So before the show, we were talking, and you were saying like you didn't really like poetry.
I didn't.
Why not? What about poetry didn't you like?
It didn't have no music. It didn't have no. And like I said, I was young, coming from where I came from. You know, it was music all the time. So to go into a poetry spot, it might be a live band, but outside that live band, there's no boom, boom, boom. It's just bland, all words. And for me to be entertained, it takes a certain type of art.
Some rhythm in their voices, in their tone, or something like something extra.
Yeah, they gotta be snapping.
Right, not just a monotone voice. You might take a nap.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap. I'll be ready to go.
We had a question earlier. Let me see. What are the things that you noticed in history that have come to fruition that you were talking about earlier in your poetry?
The control, the population control. I see it now coming to light. It's controlled by taking the numbers down. Like for instance, the pandemic, although it was a serious virus out there, whatever, it still was a form of control. You know, the technology. I went to Kroger's one day, you know, to buy something, and I go to get ready to check out. No human cashiers, and it just felt like Like, what the hell going on? Like, is no, hey, I got a show coming up. You look like you like poetry. I like your outfit. Or
right, you can't even do that. It makes it harder.
Yeah. So it's like, you know,
Do you feel like things like that inspire you to write more?
yes, definitely. Hmm.
In your poetry archive, what will we find? And like, so people have an idea of like what else you write. So we've talked about your erotic poetry. We've talked about this poem that is definitely a stew of like who you are and what you were thinking. But what else will we find in your archive?
Um, Politics, religion, history, world history, American history. Um,
So your poetry is more so like the world around you and how you take it in and then you writing it out.
how I'm taking it in, and how is some of the stuff is a lot of it is actual facts and stuff like that. Some poems, depending on the crowd, I won't do. Um, it has to be a certain crowd for certain pieces.
Do you feel like so that goes back to what I was asking?
Health.
Do you feel like maybe like certain things are not being noticed and you feel like kind of motivated to bring it to people's attention or write about it and share it type of thing? Or
It's no, I believe, because of the YouTube and the internet, everything is right there for everybody to see it. And I just feel like certain people just don't choose not to dwell in it, or don't want to know because they got to do more. I've had people tell me, they rather stay where they at because they don't have to be reliable for it. Once they know, they feel like
they're obligated.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be responsible.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's deep.
So yeah, to that question, yeah, I feel like if I speak on it, if I put this out, it might be one person, like the poem 9. One person. That one person, which was a shocker, wanted that poem on a platform. But that person
you never know how your poetry is going to hit someone's ears. So
that's right.
My last question for the dugout is not it's slipping from my mind. What do you want? What do you feel? What do you want people to take away from this poem? Like, what do you when someone hears this poem? What do you want them? How you want them to feel? What do you want them to take away from it?
I want them to just do a little research on some of the things that I said, and that's really it. Other than that,
So basically, you want them to open their mind and open their eyes and be woke.
Yeah, be open minded. That's it.
Okay.
Because there's a lot going on, and a lot of people just not aware. Some of them it ain't their time to be aware. And some of them are just being distracted.
That's a good point.
You
know. Someone said choose the red pill. I love it. Yes, expand. Yeah, so we're gonna jump into the home run, which means we're wrapping it up. So make sure you guys are commenting, and subscribing, and don't forget, if you want to support Poet's Pitch, you can support by way of Cash App. It's the $ and Poet's Pitch. Simple as that. So the people want to know, you got any upcoming events? Do you have a book? How can we support you? Like, what you got going on out here in these poetic streets?
Well, I have an album called Spoken, and it's on all streaming platforms, produced by Black Beethoven. Jet Fuel is on there, and Good Times, and 2 other songs. And also, July 9th, I have a lecture called Hip Hop and Popular Culture, the influence of social media just being demonstrated through all these radios and YouTube, and just breakdown on how hip hop and social media is influencing uh, some of our people in a chaotic way, I should say. Slide presentation, questions and answers at Nandi's Knowledge Cafe, 71 Oakman. And it's on my Instagram page. That's July 9th. What else?
You doing colas tomorrow?
Maybe. It's a big if. But July 15th, Sweet Soul Bistro, I'm having an erotic poetry show. It's 420 friendly. It's outside. It's our first 420 friendly event. The erotic shows sell out very fast. If you're interested, come on out. It's going to be like about 8 different artists that's going to be performing erotic poetry July 15th. And
then how can people follow you?
Instagram, the number 3 Face Poet. And on Facebook, the number 3 Face Poet. You can email me, 3 Face Poet. We do private events.
3 Face Poet at?
At gmail.com.
Okay.
Also, if you want a show, it could be anywhere you choose. What we do is bring the artist and the host. Email me if you ever want something done, wedding, or not wedding, but bridal shower.
Any events.
Whatever, corporate, retirement party, surprise birthday, I don't know.
You said they can hire you.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
That's it.
All right, y'all. So that's this episode of Poet's Pitch with 3 Face Poet. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much again for coming in and being on the show and sharing jet fuel.
You're welcome.
Yes,
you're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
I thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yes. Any other last words?
No. I mean, I'm good.
All right.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, y'all. We out of here.